Do you realize what you've done, sis? It's only natural that everyone's giving you the cold shoulder after the two of you betrayed me. You knew the consequences, right? In response to my fury, my sister retorted with a derisive smirk. Consequences? People's opinions? If you worry about that stuff, you'll never survive. If we're happy, nothing else matters. If you keep concerning yourself with what others think, happiness will keep slipping away from you, just like this time. In the amid of our quarrel, my husband sided with my sister, grinning wickedly. However, having executed a ruthless revenge plan against those two, I will share that story today. My name is Ava, a 28-year-old employee. And my husband, whom I married last year, is 2 years older than me. He's 30. Let me share a bit about my background. My parents divorced when I was young. My sister and I were taken in by our mother, who raised us single-handedly. Despite the divorce, we still meet with our dad once a month. I'm not sure how my mother felt, but I loved my dad very much. My mother was tough and always assertive. Always positive, she was like a ray of sunshine for us. However, she passed away due to illness when I was a sophomore in high school. My sister is 3 years older. She was extremely cute from childhood, with distinct facial features like a child actress. Even when we walked together as kids, my sister would often get comments from strangers, like, "You look like a doll." "Are you sisters? You don't look much alike." I was fed up hearing those insensitively blunt words that hurt me without them realizing it. Even as a kid, it hurt. Compared to my sister, I had a typical face like everybody else. Unlike my doll-like sister, I've never been called cute by a stranger. In our student days, my sister was always popular. Compared to her, I was treated like a nerd, unpopular girl. Despite that, I was proud of and loved my beautiful sister. I adored her, but there was one thing I didn't like. My sister always desired my belongings. She would casually take my clothes and things and take them to her room as if they were hers. But it didn't stop at material possessions. For some reason, she would exchange contact info with my friends, and if she just became friendly with them, it would have been fine. But she somehow managed to steal those friends away from me. In the end, she even took away all my old flames. I was slow to notice it, but once I did after the third boyfriend, I stopped introducing them to her. And I hid my relationship with my now husband until our marriage was decided. During our relationship, she would often say, "I know you have a boyfriend. You can't fool me. Introduce him to me. We're sisters, after all." But I told her, "I've decided not to introduce my boyfriend to you anymore because you always take them from me. I'll introduce him to you when we've decided to get married." To this, she laughed off and said, "Oh, are you insecure? The one who gets their boyfriend stolen is at fault, you know. You get them taken away because you don't work on yourself. You reap what you sow. Don't blame everything on me." This attitude reaffirmed my decision never to introduce any boyfriend to her again. Happiness came out of the blue after dating him for a year and a half. He proposed in a chic restaurant, something straight out of my dreams. Of course, I was delighted and decided to get married. Once we've decided to get married, it's time for the families to meet. I also couldn't avoid introducing him to my sister anymore. The day I introduced him to my sister and my father. As expected, my sister showed up in a dress as if she were attending a wedding. My father also seemed a bit tense. "Dad, sis. I've decided to get married to him." As I introduced my fiancé, my sister's eyes sparkled as expected. "Wow, he's so handsome. What does he do for a living?" Her usual flirty tone. "His family runs a food-related business." Being an only child, he is the promised successor. Upon learning that, my sister got even more excited. What do you like about my sister? I'm good at cooking, and ever since our mom passed away, I've been the one doing most of the household chores. Ava, she's not good at cleaning. I always have to clean up after her. Oops. Did I say too much? Sorry. This was also within expectations. Every time I introduce my boyfriend, she can't stop making comments that lower my rating. I don't particularly hate cleaning. But due to my busy job, I made it a habit to do a thorough cleaning every weekend. As I wondered how he would respond, he said, "I'm surprised that Ava's sister is beautiful this much. I thought you were an actress. You're good at housework, right? It might be nice to live together, the three of us," he said, playfully with a gleam in his eyes. Perhaps it made her feel good, but my sister also said, "Since we're going to be family, it might be better to exchange contact information. Here's my ID, please get in touch." And she handed him a handmade business card, despite her being a part-timer who doesn't even work properly. Pathetic. I felt my mood drop a bit at this point. I wanted to argue back. About housework is entirely different. My sister is extremely OCD. Since she has a lot of free time, she cleans obsessively, several times a day. Even though she doesn't have money, she insists on cooking without additives because of her big ego. The food she makes is mostly steamed vegetables under the title of Taste of Ingredients. Well, it might be good for the health, but whether it can be called cooking when it's just microwaving is questionable. Ever since I started working, I've been cooking my own meals. My father told my sister, who was eagerly getting involved, "Don't always take your sister's stuff, go find your own. It's unseemly to reach out for others' stuff. You're not that young anymore, get married while there's someone willing to take you," he said half-jokingly. My sister, her face red with anger, snapped, "I don't want to hear that from a divorced man. I feel sick. I'm leaving," and stormed out. My father said, "Don't worry about your sister. I'll take care of it. Please make her happy. I've put a lot of burden on my daughter. Please take good care of her." And he pleaded with him. He also said, "Leave it to me. I will make her happy. And please continue to support us." And time flowed happily as if the earlier incident had never happened. After that, I greeted his parents. "Nice to meet you. We've recently gotten engaged. We look forward to your guidance and support." "Thank you." As I said that, his mother, Emily, warmly greeted me. "Oh, don't be nervous. You're such a beautiful girl. It feels like we suddenly have a new daughter." His father, Robert, also added, "We're a small business, but we're hoping you might consider working with us. We wouldn't want to force you, but would you think about it?" I had already heard about this from my fiancé. I'm currently doing office work, so it's my area of expertise. "Yes, I have heard about it from him. I'll certainly try my best if there is something I can do. I'm looking forward to working with you both professionally and personally," Emily then said. "Oh, that's wonderful. It's a relief to have you here since we're just learning as we go with the office work. We're looking forward to working with you too." At that time, I was completely caught up in the dream of marriage. Considering that I didn't have a mother and was on bad terms with my sister, we decided not to have a wedding ceremony. Of course, we didn't have much money for the wedding. We registered our marriage at the government office, and we officially became husband and wife. I left my previous job to start working at my father-in-law's company. I thought I had a happy life ahead of me, but I began noticing something odd after I started living with my husband. He takes a day off from work very often. He's completely spoiled because his parents own the business. Even his parents, so used to this, don't say a word when he takes a day off. And then, one day when he slacked off from work, something happened. I had forgotten my phone at home and came back during lunch break to get it. But there were a pair of high heels at the entrance. More than a strange feeling, my heart was pounding so hard it hurt. Moreover, those high heels were the same one my sister had taken from me before. I understood the situation instantly. I decided to go outside and act as if I hadn't seen anything. That night, he acted as if nothing had happened. I had absolutely no trust in him anymore. My sister, oblivious to the fact that she's just being played by her numerous boyfriends, keeps insisting that she's popular. Wanting to know more about my sister, I hired a private detective to investigate her. I was shocked by the investigation's results after a month. My sister had been involved with 7 different men in that month, besides my husband. Moreover, all of them were married. My sister had never held a full-time job. Whenever she did work, it was part-time, and she couldn't stick with it because she has a big ego. If she's scolded, she doesn't go to work anymore. When she was younger, she used to have a bunch of sugar daddies. She looked down on me, working and earning my own money, and said confidently, "If a woman is cute, she can get by in life." Perhaps she began to feel the limits of relying on sugar daddies as she got older. Still, my sister, unable to be independent, was hooked on easy dating apps in hopes of marrying into money. And she would catch rich men and get involved with them. However, all those men were already married. My sister was just their plaything. My sister, probably so blinded by her popularity, didn't realize the extent of her actions. In the end, she was involved in extramarital affairs with 8 men, including my husband. It was disgusting to even breathe the same air as such a husband. So, I brought up the topic of divorce. My husband retorted, "Huh? You want a divorce? Well, if that's what you want, fine. I'll give you a divorce. But remember, you're the one who started this, so no alimony." Just as I expected, he readily agreed. I confronted him. "You were having an affair with my sister, weren't you? I know everything. How can you cheat on your wife with her sister?" Upon hearing this, my husband responded, "Oh, that makes things easier. I'll divorce you and remarry your sister. Even her parents know. It'll be quicker to have her over and be a witness to our divorce papers." He then called for my sister. She arrived in a matter of minutes. Seeing my sister only fueled my anger, I asked her, "Do you realize what you've done? It's only natural for others to look at you coldly because you both betrayed me. Are you prepared for the consequences?" In response, my sister just belittled me. Consequences? Public opinions? If we cared about such things, we couldn't live. If we're happy, it doesn't matter what others think. If you keep worrying about how others see you, happiness will slip away, just like this time. I'll also cut ties with you. I've taken the position of the company president's wife." In a sense, I was relieved. The sister I loved so much in my childhood is no longer there. If I can cutting ties with her, I'll gladly do it. The divorce was finalized without a hitch. I told them, "I don't want alimony. In return, never see me again." My ex-husband responded with a grin. "Well, that's a relief. A peaceful divorce." We were renting our residence, so there was no property to divide, and we didn't even have much savings. The small amount of savings we had, which was just enough to cover moving expenses, ended up going to me. Then, his in-laws, Robert and Emily, stepped in. In fact, I had told them everything before this discussion. Emily, though surprised, said, "I love you so much, and I want you to be happy. Are you thinking of quitting the company? If it's hard for you, I understand, but I will support you in any way I can. Please think about it." Robert then added, "Our son is useless. Your work is essential for our company." As it turned out, his restless in-laws arrived a little earlier than the designated time. Robert told my ex-husband, "I've had enough of you. You don't work properly. To top it off, you take leave to have affairs. Pathetic." My ex-husband retorted, "Even if you say that, I'm the only child and the next president. By my time, everything will be AI, so learning now is pointless." Emily also scolded him. "You don't work but talk big. You don't need to show your face for a while. Reflect on your actions and then come back." My sister gleefully added, "Lucky. Official vacation. Let's go on a honeymoon." It was clear the situation wouldn't get any better. I decided to stay at in-laws' house until I could find a place to live. The next day, I filed for divorce. And just like that, I became a single again. And this is where my plan got set in motion. I sent a legal letter to my sister's affair partner right after filing for divorce. My sister, panicked over the alimony demands from the wives of 7 men she had affairs with, pleaded with my ex-husband, saying, "We can get married if you pay this alimony. You're going to be the next president, so why don't you take some money from the company?" But he didn't work, so there was no way he had any money. And he couldn't possibly take money from the company. He was rational about this and furious that she had been involved with 7 other men besides him. All he had in front of him were alimony demands for a vast sum from the affair partners. His future was looking bleak. Apparently, they had a fight. But that wasn't the end of his misfortunes. A few days after I reported the divorce and my sister's affair to my dad, I was dining with my dad, who was concerned about my health. When I casually mentioned my ex-husband's parents' company, my dad said, "The president of that client company is my old buddy. Small world. We still go out for drinks regularly. He was the first person I consulted when I got divorced. He even performed at my wedding as a friend when I married your mom." It turned out that he had a relationship with the president of the client company. My dad, who was furious about this whole situation, had talked to his old friend about the divorce. He was furious that my ex-husband was so irresponsible. Knowing this, my dad contacted his old friend. He was drinking nearby, so he arrived soon. He was the president, who I had met several times at work. Small world, isn't it? I can't forgive that guy who hurt your beloved daughter. I'm going to take action immediately. Don't worry, I won't let anyone but him be unhappy." He ended this topic quickly and began to tell stories about his childhood with my dad. The next day, when I went to work, Robert looked a bit panicked. "The client company said that they cannot trade with a company where my son will be the next president. Following that, related companies have also proposed to stop trading," he said. Emily also said, "Well, it's natural to hear such a divorce story. Trust is the most important thing for a company like ours." When I tried to contact the client company, Emily said, "It's okay. It's not your fault at all. It's karma. It's about time that lazy son got a reality check. It's natural for a company to want to get rid of him. We've spoiled him too much. He's always skipping work without permission, slacking off when he's there, and then he has the audacity to suggest that manual tasks could be done by AI. He's not welcome in our company anymore. If we left the company to him, it would go under. Hearing this, Robert also said, "You're right. The company would just go under if he took over. I have a proposal. It's a bit sooner than planned, but Emily, can we tell her about that thing?" When he asked Emily, she said, "This is the perfect timing. Go ahead, darling." Then Robert said, "This is something we've discussed before the divorce, but my foolish son is good for nothing. He's a burden to the company. Therefore, I'd like you to learn various aspects of the job over the years as a potential future president. This is not about blood relations, but a proposal to protect our precious company. I hope you will accept it." I was taken aback. I didn't have confidence in myself, but I dearly love them, Robert and Emily. I want to help them. Without hesitation, I answered, "I will do everything I can. I want to be of help to you, Robert and Emily. Please allow me to continue working in this company. I wish to be able to protect this company over the years. I'm at your service." The two of them were overjoyed. Even though our form as a family has ended, I'm happy to have a deep relationship with them. Upon our decision, Robert called in my ex-husband. Feeling the unusual atmosphere, my ex-husband appeared promptly. I explained the circumstances. My ex-husband, who had been smugly assuming he'd be the next president. When he found out that I had inherited the position of the next president, he started yelling at me. "Playing the victim, huh? A plain Jane like you needs to have a decent personality to survive. Trying to usurp my company. I've got no intention of stepping down," he said. Before I could retort, his father, Robert, cut in. "What kind of language is that for a future president? You're nothing more than a ghost employee who barely works. We no longer need such an employee in our company. You're fired." What's that all about? I'd pass on this sinking ship of a company that's on the verge of going under. I'm quitting. Give me a severance pay of $100,000. He was talking nonsense. It felt like talking to an out-of-touch child. His mother, Emily, was laughing. "There's no way we have severance pay to give to you. If you say so, we'll have you compensate for all the losses the company has incurred due to your mistakes. You can't do that, can you? If so, you should quietly step back." He puffed up with an annoyed look on his face and blurted out, "Geez, leave me alone. I ain't dealing with you folks no more. Don't come crying to me in your old age, 'cause I'll kick you to the curb." It was hard to believe that he would say something like this to his parents. Robert chuckled. "Ha! No matter how hard times get, I ain't gonna come crying to you. Sorry, but this here company is doing way better than you think. Ain't never crossed my mind to rely on you for my retirement." And with that my ex-husband said, "We're done here," and stormed out. We all looked at each other and couldn't stop laughing. Emily chimed in. "Good riddance. Knowing him, he'll be back crying in no time. But I ain't lifting a finger to help him, no siree. It ain't doing him any good." Robert added, "That's right. Well, gotta thank him for finding us a darn good successor to take over the business, at least." My ex-husband said it's a peaceful divorce, and I reckon he's right. Later, I heard through the grapevine that he broke up with my sister. They must have come to their senses after seeing that big alimony. I once spotted him working as a cashier at the nearby gas station. I was relieved to see him working hard, but that was the only time I saw him there. He probably couldn't stick with it and quit. As for me, I'm working my tail off in sales alongside the president. I absolutely adore Robert and Emily, who treat me like their own daughter. The company is bustling, with more clients and new hires coming on board. I'm having a ball at work, can't help it. My love life is in the pits, but my social life is through the roof. A fantastic family in Emily and Robert, and a job I love. Life's just peachy right now. No more ties with my good-for-nothing sister, so no troubles whatsoever. I'm grateful for the connection my ex-husband gave me. Today marks the 50th anniversary of my marriage with my husband. As we each began to eat, our granddaughter Amelia appeared on the verge of tears, showing signs of unease. I wonder what's wrong with Amelia. As I was about to voice my concern, she tugged at her mom, Mia's sleeve, with a tearful voice, appealing. "Mom, I need to go pee-pee." Faced with her appeal, Mia's expression turned ice cold as she bluntly told Amelia, "What a hassle! Just go in your diaper." I couldn't comprehend Mia's words. The thought of letting Amelia just wet herself in a diaper, despite her expressing the need to urinate, was beyond belief to me. A wet diaper would be heavy and uncomfortable for Amelia. Unable to hold back, I opened my mouth to reprimand Mia. Before I could speak, a clear voice echoed, "Hey, Auntie. It's not right to use Amelia for likes." The room fell silent at the unexpected intervention. It was our grandson, Paul. Following his words, Mia was visibly flustered and left speechless. My daughter Madison seemed to realize something and pulled out her mobile phone. "Paul, by likes, do you mean this?" The screen of the mobile phone she pulled out displayed a popular video sharing website. The secret to a 3-year-old girl's mom's way of handling her child. Next to a cute illustrated icon, there was a biography written. Amelia is a 3-year-old girl. Could the poster of this video account possibly be Mia? "Madison, could you let me see that video?" Receiving the mobile phone from Madison, I tapped on the top video of the video account. Displayed was, "My name is Isabella. I turned 67 this year. Always putting family first, I've been married to Stephen, who has always been protective, for 50 years. We live modestly as I'm a housewife, and together we lead a simple, happy life. Though not lavish, our days are peaceful and joyful. My husband and I have 2 children. Our son, Matthew, and our daughter, Madison. It's often said how quickly children grow up, and I truly believe it. Our once needy little children have grown up, married, and left the nest. Matthew got married right after graduating from college. When he introduced us to his college classmate Mia as his spouse, I was surprised at their haste. But as long as they were happy, that was all that mattered to us. Our daughter Madison found her match at work, and after living together for 2 years, they got married. Her partner was her direct supervisor. He visited us to formally announce their engagement, impeccably dressed in a suit without a wrinkle. He was just as Madison had described, sincere and serious. Both Stephen and I felt reassured. Both Matthew's and Madison's families bought their homes not far from where my husband and I live, making it easy for them to visit often. It's a joy to have our grown children come to see us. We're blessed with grandchildren too. My first grandchild, Paul, is Madison's firstborn son. 2 years after Paul was born, Matthew and Mia were blessed with a daughter, Amelia. The grandchildren are growing up well, with Paul now a lively 5-year-old. The last time he visited, he proudly showed off his new bag, excited for starting school next year. Amelia, at the age of 3, has recently started to show interest in fashion. She's a well-behaved child for her age, with many friends at the childcare center, a kind soul. The grandchildren attend the same childcare center near my house, filled with memories from when Matthew and Madison were young. The childcare center filled with memories, once attended by both Matthew and Madison. Even though I felt a deep loneliness when our children left home, being able to see them and now their children so easily fills me with immense happiness. My joy comes from seeing my children and my adorable grandchildren. However, there's one thing that I can't help but worry about. It's how often Matthew's wife, Mia, drops off Amelia at our house. I'm truly happy to see Amelia. She's a 3-year-old granddaughter who's rapidly gaining knowledge, and I'm amazed at her growth every time I see her. But the frequency is just too much. After leaving Amelia with us, Mia would head out dressed extravagantly. Since Matthew works late, the care of Amelia falls mostly on my husband Stephen and me. Gradually, Mia started to rely on me for dropping off and picking up Amelia from the childcare center, sometimes not seeing Mia until it was almost the next day. "Grandma, where's Mom? Isn't she coming to pick me up yet?" Amelia would ask me with a sad face when Mia would come to pick her up. Amelia is still 3 years old. She must be in her prime time for seeking her mom's affection. Every time my adorable granddaughter made a sad face, it felt as if my heart was being squeezed tight. To leave such a small child like Amelia. What could Mia be doing after leaving Amelia with me? "Amelia, it's okay. Mom will come to pick you up soon." Every time Amelia looked sad, all I could do was hug her gently. On a cloudless, sunny Sunday, as usual, Mia brought Amelia over. "Good morning, Mom. I'm sorry to ask, but could you please take care of Amelia today too?" Mia, wearing a short skirt and carrying an expensive-looking bag. "Come on, hurry up," urged Mia. As Amelia walked over to me, she grabbed my hand with her small one. Without saying a word to Amelia, Mia just said to me, "I'll be back tonight," and hurried off. As Mia's figure shrank in the distance and eventually disappeared, Amelia looked down sadly. "Amelia, look, today's such a beautiful day. How about we go to the park together?" I suggested going to the park to lighten her spirits a bit. Her expression brightened. "Go to the park." I was glad to see my granddaughter smile. With that thought, I gently stroked Amelia's head. The park with a large elephant-shaped slide, Amelia's favorite, is about a 20-minute walk from our house. As we walked hand in hand to the park, someone called out to us. A woman around my age, Garcia, who has lived in the neighborhood for a long time. She approached me and Amelia and said something unbelievable. "Oh my, Isabella. Is this your granddaughter Amelia? Matthew really married a good woman, didn't he?" I couldn't understand her words. I can't think of Mia as a good wife. How could a mom who leaves her child every day to go out be considered a good wife? Stunned, I froze for a moment before asking, "Garcia, what do you mean by that?" "Mia, she's taking care of Amelia by herself since Matthew comes home late, right? She seems to be well educated and has money, so Amelia's future is secure. Children shouldn't have to suffer because of money issues," Garcia said with a laugh. Strange. No matter how much I try, the Mia in my mind doesn't match the Mia in Garcia's. Trying not to show my confusion, I replied nonchalantly and continued to the park with Amelia. That night, after 8 p.m., Mia came. After playing a lot in the park and sliding down her favorite elephant slide 5 times, Amelia, tired from all the excitement, had fallen asleep. Carefully lifting the small body so as not to wake her, I handed her over to Mia's arms. As I was about to ask Mia what she has been doing by leaving Amelia with me. "Be careful. Amelia might wake up," she said hurriedly and left. Even after Mia and Amelia had gone, Garcia's words kept running through my head. Mia, the mom who's wealthy and well-educated. The Mia I know is always out after leaving Amelia with me, and considering she graduated from the same local, small college as Matthew, I couldn't see her as wealthy. That college is hardly famous. Matthew also complained the last time we met that he works late every day but hardly gets paid, and I've never seen any sign that they have financial leeway. He said their monthly income is about average. Moreover, Mia is a housewife and does not work. I couldn't imagine Matthew's family having a high household income. Isabella, what's wrong? You look troubled. Looking at me with concern. Stephen must have noticed something was off. After 50 years of marriage, we've shared and overcome everything together. I couldn't keep anything from him. I told Stephen about what Garcia had said. Stephen knew how sad Amelia felt being left with us by Mia every day. Yet, the notion of Garcia seeing Mia as a wealthy, well-educated mom felt odd to share. Stephen listened quietly to my story. After hearing me out, Stephen seemed to ponder for a while before saying, "So, that happened." He then took out the mobile phone he recently learned to use from Madison and started making a call. I watched Stephen on the phone for a while. I couldn't hear the other end of the conversation well enough to understand what was being said. But, Stephen always leads me in the right direction. Talking to him made my heart feel a bit lighter. I closed my eyes, wishing nothing but happiness for Amelia. A week passed, and I was sitting on the living room sofa, knitting, which is my hobby, when the phone rang. I rushed to answer it. "Hello, Mom? It's your 50th wedding anniversary with Dad this year, right? Madison and I were talking, and we want to celebrate. Do you have any free days?" It was my son, Matthew. He proposed gathering both our families, his and Madison's, to celebrate our anniversary. "Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. Stephen is off on Saturdays and Sundays, so either day is fine." I informed Matthew of Stephen's days off. I was thrilled at the thought of our children and grandchildren wanting to celebrate our anniversary. The following Saturday night, all three families gathered for the first time in a while. A glamorous, high-end restaurant known for its hospitality. Matthew had made the reservation. "Wow! This is so luxurious." As soon as we entered, Mia excitedly began taking photos of the interior. "Here, Amelia, stand there. Oh, move a bit to the right." She was taking multiple photos of Amelia next to an expensive-looking painting. Taking photos in a high-end restaurant is generally not seen as appropriate. It can disrupt the ambience and the sound of the shutter can be intrusive, so it's polite to ask staff permission before taking pictures. Mia seemed oblivious, continuing to snap away. I was honestly concerned but didn't want to spoil the celebratory mood, so I silently watched Mia's actions. "Thank you for waiting." The staff brought over the food. The table was adorned with dishes that looked like delicate works of art. "Now that the food is here, let's say it again. Dad, Mom, happy 50th wedding anniversary. Here's to." Before Matthew could finish. "Wait a minute," Mia interrupted loudly. "We need to take photos of the food before anyone touches it. So, wait." I was taken aback. Stephen sitting next to me looked just as dismayed. Sitting across from me, Madison couldn't hold back and said, "Mia, hold on. Today is about celebrating Dad and Mom. It's not the place for taking photos. That's bad manners." Mia, upon being told off by Madison, made a displeased face and put her mobile phone down, turning away in a huff. Matthew looked uncomfortable, hanging his head. "Dad, Mom. Once again, from me. Happy 50th wedding anniversary. Madison, Matthew. Thank you." Although Mia's sulky behavior was concerning, Madison's words were a joy to hear. As we each started to eat, Amelia seemed restless, showing a face like she was about to cry, looking uneasy. I wondered what was wrong with Amelia. As I was about to express my concern, she tugged at Mia's sleeve, with a tearful voice, appealing. "Mom, I need to go pee-pee." Mia, faced with her plea, displayed an icy cold expression before bluntly telling Amelia, "What a hassle! Just use your diaper." I couldn't understand Mia's words. The idea of telling Amelia to just wet herself in a diaper despite expressing the need to urinate was unbelievable to me. A wet diaper would become heavy and uncomfortable for Amelia. I couldn't bear it and opened my mouth to scold Mia. Before I could speak, a clear voice rang out. "Hey, Auntie. Amelia is a person, not a toy." The unexpected intervention brought silence to the room. It was Madison's son, Paul. With a stern expression, Paul continued, "It's not right to use Amelia for likes." Mia, faced with Paul's words, was visibly shaken and left speechless. Mia's treatment towards Amelia was too much to overlook. Too cruel for a mom. Madison seemed to realize something and took out her mobile phone. "Paul, are you talking about this by any chance?" The screen displayed a popular video-sharing website. The Secret to Handling a 3-Year-Old Girl by her mom. Next to a cute illustrated icon, there was a biography written. Amelia is a 3-year-old girl. Could the poster of this video account possibly be Mia? Yes. This is yours, right? Chloe's mom showed it to me when I went to Chloe's house. I recalled Madison mentioning Chloe's mom before. Madison and Chloe's mom, being the same age and due to Paul and Chloe getting along well, were close friends. "Madison, could I see that video, please?" Receiving the mobile phone from Madison, I tapped on the top video listed on the account. The title read, "How to Get a 3-Year-Old Who Hates Going to the Toilet to Go." A busy day of solo parenting by mom. Thinking how Mia always leaves Amelia with me, claiming solo parenting, I watched the video. It showed Amelia crying and Mia scolding her harshly. Knowing Amelia well from our time together, I was certain. Though her face wasn't clearly shown, this was Amelia. I recognized the flashy clothes of the mom, the same ones Mia wore when she came to pick up Amelia. Mia's tone in the video was too harsh. "Just listen and go to the bathroom." Mia, grabbing Amelia's arm and raising her voice, must have been holding on tightly. Amelia's thin arm appeared bruised in the video. A chill went down my spine. This was too much. With trembling hands, I tapped on the video titled, "The 3-Year-Old Who Dislikes Everything. How to Fix Picky Eating." It played Mia forcibly stuffing carrots into Amelia's mouth, who complained they were too hard to eat. The video titled, "Sometimes Mom Needs a Break. How to Put Your Child to Sleep Alone," showed Mia locking a protesting Amelia in the bedroom to have a drink alone. Seeing the content, I couldn't believe this was discipline. I felt the blood drain from my face. "Mia, what is this supposed to mean?" I turned to Mia, holding back rising anger, and asked quietly, "That's not me. It's someone else entirely." Mia, with her eyes darting back and forth, rapidly insisted. Clearly, something was off. "That's Mia's video. The person in the video is her," Stephen stated firmly. "I heard from Isabella the other day. Garcia from the neighborhood said that Mia is a wealthy mom who takes care of Amelia alone while Matthew is away, and she's very dedicated to education." Hearing that made me very curious. So, I decided to check. The room fell silent as Stephen's voice echoed. Mia froze, her eyes wide open, her body trembling slightly. I called Garcia to ask about Mia. Mia, you asked Garcia to follow this account because you were the one posting, didn't you? I remembered discussing with Stephen what I had heard from our neighbor Garcia. The person Stephen had been on the phone with that time was indeed Garcia. Madison, having listened to Stephen, looked startled and stood up. I've heard that too. Mia was going around at the childcare center asking other kids' moms to follow her video account. You wanted to become a famous video creator and asked for their support, right? Recalling Paul's words that Chloe's mom had told him, I was surprised. Paul, Chloe, and Amelia all attend the same childcare center. It makes sense that Chloe's mom would have heard about Mia's video account. Madison's follow-up made Mia's face turn bright red as she shouted, That's not true. I didn't ask anyone. I just said if they wanted to follow, I could tell them. I said I would tell you if you followed me. Mia's words echoed in my mind. I was convinced. So, that video account was indeed Mia's. Mia, you said earlier it wasn't you, but this is you, isn't it? I pointed to the video showing Mia scolding Amelia from behind. Mia seemed to realize she had slipped up, her face turning pale. Watching this, Paul murmured, Getting angry and telling her to go to the toilet, or telling her to use a diaper based on how you feel. If you decide that way, Amelia would be troubled. Paul's confident words made Mia slump in defeat. Seeing this, Matthew stood up hastily, sitting down on the floor. His eyes firmly met ours. I didn't realize anything until Paul pointed it out. I've been staying late at work to increase our income, not understanding what was happening at home. Tears welled up in Matthew's eyes, his voice trembling. I didn't know Mia was constantly leaving Amelia with Mom and Dad, causing trouble and ruining a joyful occasion. I'm truly sorry to Amelia too. Matthew deeply apologized. Tears fell onto Matthew's knees. He promised us he would talk with Mia once they got home. Hoping for Matthew and Amelia's future happiness, I watched until Matthew, taking Mia and Amelia, was out of sight. A few days later, as I was preparing dinner in the kitchen, the doorbell rang. Opening the door, I saw Matthew. Mom, sorry for the sudden visit. May I come in? Matthew had a serious look on his face. I sensed he had something important to discuss. Of course. This is your home too. Come on in. I ushered Matthew into the dining room, next to the chair where Stephen was sitting. Matthew sat down across from us and began. Dad, Mom, sorry for barging in like this. After talking with Mia, I've decided to divorce her. I came today to explain properly. Matthew's voice was steady, his resolve clear. I found out that Mia was habitually too harsh on Amelia. I confirmed it with Amelia. Moreover, she had accumulated a significant debt from consumer loans. I had a feeling about what Matthew was saying. That day when Mia's video account came to light, Stephen and I had reviewed Mia's video account together. Mia's posted videos mainly consisted of disciplining Amelia and showcasing high-end brand bags and clothing. The neighbor, Garcia, thought Mia was wealthy after seeing her videos featuring luxury brand bags. She hadn't watched the videos where Mia scolded Amelia, only glanced at the titles and mistakenly believed Mia was thoroughly educating her. The luxury items Mia showcased easily surpassed $10,000. I wondered how she could afford such expensive purchases. Was that debt for buying the brand items Mia showcased in her videos? Matthew nodded in response to my question. Mia had incurred debt to buy luxury items and feature them on her video account. The amount ballooned as she kept borrowing more to repay her debts. Matthew was unaware of the situation because Mia disposed of any collection notices before he could see them. Publicizing luxury brands and parenting videos attracted many views and attention. Mia felt superior by garnering attention, focusing only on what would shine the most. She avoided confronting the growing debt, choosing to escape reality by going out drinking, while leaving Amelia with me. After explaining, Matthew apologized to us. "Dad, Mom. From now on, I'll prioritize Amelia over work. I'm truly sorry for the trouble I've caused." Matthew. He mentioned he discussed the divorce and custody of Amelia with Mia again and then left. A few days later, Matthew called. "Mom, I'll be living with Amelia from now on." Matthew and Mia had disputed Amelia's custody and reached an agreement today. Despite Mia's claim to Amelia's custody, Amelia expressed her wish to stay with Matthew. When Matthew presented the excessive scolding and confirmed Amelia's preference, Mia couldn't argue, and they agreed that Matthew would retain custody. You could hear the happiness in Matthew's voice even through the phone. After the divorce, Mia's reputation quickly deteriorated and she left town. A year passed. Matthew sold the house and now lives with us and Amelia. Mia, reportedly living alone in a distant town's old apartment, is working hard to pay child support and her debts. On a cloudless, sunny Sunday noon, Madison and Paul visited. Hearing laughter from the yard while knitting on the sofa, I joined Stephen outside. "Stephen, I heard such happy voices, I had to come." Amelia and Paul were joyfully playing ball, watched affectionately by Matthew and Madison. "Stephen, I'm so glad. Seeing them happy like this makes me truly happy." Stephen squeezed my hand in agreement. Holding his hand back, we watched our children and grandchildren in the yard. I wished Mia had seen Amelia's smiling face instead of focusing solely on her video account's followers and views. Amelia's radiant smile shone brightly in the sunlight. We resolved to protect that smile from now on. Deep in my heart, I felt this strongly.